Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Geeky Leaks podcast. In case you haven't already noticed, I am flying solo this week. Josh was not able to make it. He's busy with work and school and stuff. I was barely able to do this myself. I'm actually filming this at, 2:22 in the morning, because it's pretty much the only time I can do it. But news happens every week, and we missed last week, unfortunately, so I wanted to make sure that I was here to bring you guys the news, because this week's actually been pretty crazy, especially as far as hardware announcements. In case you haven't noticed, I got a couple goodies in front of me, but I'll talk about those at the end. Those are some of the projects I'm working on. But anyway, let's jump right into it, because, I don't know if I'm going to try to squeeze this all in. But anyway, so first up here, AMD has released an official statement regarding the RX 560 fiasco, so to speak. In case you guys haven't heard, so the RX 560 announced earlier this year was initially announced with 1024 stream processors as an upgrade from the 480. But AMD is actually, since they said about around summertime, I think they had said. Anyway, for a while now, they've been shipping RX 560s with, what is it? I gotta get my numbers right here. It's 896 stream processors. Now, what does that really mean? Well, the confusion is because you're buying an RX 560 with maybe more or less stream processors, but it's the same SKU. There's rarely any price difference between the two. If you go look online now, there's not really any clear indicators as to which one you're buying, and the prices are more or less the same. So you could be paying the same price for less performance. So needless to say, once this was discovered, everybody pretty much grabbed their torches and pitchforks and was none too impressed with AMD, and neither am I, honestly. You know, it'd be different if they had kind of rebranded it a little bit. Maybe it was the RX 555 or something, I don't know. They already actually had the RX 560D, which was the cut-down variant, the 896 stream processor version of this for the Asian markets, but they didn't bring that same naming scheme over to North America when they started releasing these other RX 560s. So AMD's released an official statement, which basically, we're sorry, are bad. Apparently they're working to fix it. They're working with AIBs, the board partners, and retailers and stuff to kind of make it more clear as to which one you're buying. So hopefully we will see those changes made soon. The issue isn't the cut-down card. It's fine to release a cut-down card. So people do it all the time. AMD does it. Nvidia does it. Hell, Intel shaves off stuff on their CPUs to make the lower SKUs. So it's all fine. It's just you have to market it correctly, and you have to brand it properly so people know what they're buying. And hopefully you would adjust the pricing accordingly if you're buying a less powerful product. But anyway, we're hoping to see them rectify that soon. So if you're looking for an RX 560, for now, I would either steer clear for maybe next few weeks or so until this kind of gets sorted out, or you can always jump over the fence. The 1050 is always a great option, and 1050 Ti, those are good cards as well. But just kind of a quick PSA for you guys out there. They're shopping for video cards. But speaking of video cards, this is at the opposite end of the spectrum now. We're going to jump over to Nvidia, who announced today, this was like maybe a couple hours ago now, they announced the Titan V. And you guessed it, it is the Volta Titan card, the one we've saw some pictures of earlier this year that were leaked. This thing's a beast. The specs are a beast, and the pricing is a beast. So let's do specs first. Specs are always fun. So, well, you guys can already see the pricing there anyway. Big surprise, but we'll do the specs first. So this thing is 5,120 stream processors. This is the same number as the Tesla V100 that they had talked about before, that was released for like data center operations and stuff. They basically took that same chip, plopped it onto a standard PCB with, a PCI Express interface and everything, and they're reselling it to us. Now, there's a few differences here. There's some nice pictures of it there too. Thing does look beautiful, but there's a couple of differences here, mostly just with the memory. So this one has 12 gigs of HBM2 instead of 16, like the full V100 does. And I believe it is also running at a slightly different clock speed. So this one is clocked at 1200 megahertz base and 1455 boost, which is still not bad at all, considering how many friggin' stream processors are in this thing. It's ridiculous. I mean, to put this into perspective, this is literally double the number of stream processors as a GTX 1080, which, as most of you probably already know, that card is already a friggin' beast. So if you're able to get your hands on this thing and like overclock it in any way, it's gonna just crush everything. Like, literally, like everything. Like even 4K gaming. The 1080 Ti is already pretty good at 4K gaming. Like, you can already play a lot of games on higher ultra, where at around 60-ish, give or take, FPS. This thing's gonna do it no problem. especially if you overclock it. No problem, I guarantee it. This thing's going to be ridiculous, but it comes at a cost. You guys ready? 3,000 US. 3,000 US dollars. That's kind of ridiculous. Now, some of the reasons they're doing this, pricing wise, is they're from what I've seen here so far, they're not really marketing to gamers, which is good because I mean, you guys know there's going to be an 1180 Ti or a 2080 Ti or some sort of Ti card that's going to be like as close to it, and probably around $700-800. So if you're a gamer, it's like super don't buy this. Like don't buy this at all. Unless you just don't care. I wish I had my wallet to just throw money out, but unless you just don't care and you have all the monies, don't buy this. But the reason that they're also charging a lot of money is because they are marketing towards like people who do deep learning and like data centers and stuff like that. But they also kept in all of the tensor cores that were in the V100. So all of those cores that do all of this deep learning specific stuff are still kept here. So I think that that's why they're keeping the high price, because they're really saying this is not a gaming card, and to their credit, there is no longer GeForce on the side of it anymore. It's just the Titan. There's Titan branding along the side here, and Titan V on the front, but I don't see GeForce, and I'm slightly more okay with that, because at $3,000, my God, you could build a gaming PC with literally two 1080 Ti's in it, and an 8700K, and NVMe SSDs, and all of that stuff for $3,000 US right now. So it does not make sense if you're a gamer to buy this right now, but this makes me super excited for XXXX whatever Ti card we're going to get, because if it's not 5120 stream processors, it's going to be damn close, and it's going to be beastly, so makes me excited for that. I still, I know you guys are thinking the same thing. I still want somebody to get their hands on this and like put it underwater and overclock it and feed it all the voltage it needs, and run some games at like 4K, like maxed, like just craziness. But I'm sure it'll happen at some point. But for now, this more so makes me excited, like I said, for a Ti card than anything. So yeah, get stoked for Volta. That's going to be very beastly. Oh, I also forgot to mention, this is because it's Volta, this is on TSMC's 12 nanometer process, so it is a little bit of a shrink from Pascal as well. So that also helps with the efficiency, and of course Nvidia is talking about efficiency and all that stuff. They always do, but a lot more of the details are in the article. It's a beastly card. But yeah, moving on. Let's talk about some mobile stuff. So, well, speaking of beastly, Qualcomm announced the Snapdragon 845. Surprise. Haha. So we all kind of figured the Snapdragon 840 or 845. Didn't really know what it would be called. We knew it was coming. Every year Qualcomm does the refresh, and this year is no different. We got the Snapdragon 845. It'll probably be available in, smartphones in probably Q1, maybe early Q2 of next year. Yeah, this is the stuff that's going to power probably like your Samsung S9s and your LG G7s, whatever other flagships other people do, Sony's flagships, I'm sure, all the flagships of next year for the most part are probably going to be rocking this, OnePlus, probably also, Pixel 3, or whatever Google decides to call it. I'm assuming it's Pixel 3, but yeah, so this is still using what do you call them? 8 cores, my God, I can't think of numbers. It's an 8-core design, so you've got 4 cores at 2.8 and 4 cores at 1.8, which is awesome. That's some pretty high clock speed, especially for a mobile phone. Of course, they're talking about, the efficiency of it again. They're going to save battery life and increase performance, which is pretty much expected. One of the cool things that they talked about with this was the slow motion video recording and the 4K video recording. So this chip is going to be able to do 4K video recording, 60 FPS with HDR, which is sweet. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So I would expect, smartphone cameras next year to get a nice, pretty big step up, especially in the video department. And of course, in slow motion, yeah, which is the other cool thing. So they're talking about slow motion at up to 480 FPS, which is like crazy slow. Like that's like, I'm not gonna try to do it. It's really slow, guys. Super slow. If you want to catch that cool video of the dog catching the frisbee, or someone throwing the football, doing sports stuff, whatever. I don't know. Whatever people like to film with their phones in slow motion, it's gonna be sweet for that. Now I don't think they say high definition slow motion video. High definition meaning 1080p, 720p. We don't really know, but frankly, even 720p at 480 FPS is ridiculous. I mean, that would still be awesome. So, smartphone videos are going to get smartphone cameras are going to get pretty interesting next year. And of course, they have the new modem in here as well. which is the X20e or X20. They're talking about this thing having 1.2 gigabit speeds for LTE, which is insane. But I mean, there's not a carrier that I can personally think of that supports those kind of speeds. But at least it's ready for the future whenever people decide to upgrade their infrastructures and offer better speeds. That's a whole nother argument I'm not going to get into here, but needless to say, this is going to bring us some pretty powerful phones. It's going to hopefully let us do some pretty cool new things. Hopefully it gives us better battery life, because for me, my phone has been good enough for a long time. Where did I put the thing? I don't have it. I have a Galaxy Note 4. I honestly still really am not, like, I would like a new phone, but I don't really have any reason to upgrade. It does everything I needed to do. That thing has a Snapdragon 805 in it. Phones have been good enough for a long time, in my personal opinion, but hey, I mean, faster is better. I'm not going to complain, you know? Especially if it gives us better battery life. That's what I want. Better battery life. But yeah, so let's switch things up a bit. Let's get out of this hardware stuff. And me and Josh talked about this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin. Holy crap. So Bitcoin is now over 15,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. In this article, ours said it was $15,200, and this was from 10/24 this morning. So this is already, about 16-ish hours old. So I mean, I'd have to do a check right now, but you know what? We're gonna do it live. We're gonna do a quick check. What's Bitcoin? Bitcoin USD. Bitcoin is $16,939 US according to Google right now. So in the last 16 hours, it's gone up almost another 2,000. Holy shit. All right. Bitcoin's worth a lot of money. And if you're one of the folks out there that bought Bitcoin who was a couple $100 or something, it's good for you, man. That's friggin' awesome. And I know this doesn't apply to a lot of people out here. It doesn't apply to me. I don't have any Bitcoins either, but I just can't believe how fast the value of this thing is going up. It's a bubble that's got to burst, I would think. I would think every time I see an article like this, I just think, I should go buy a little bit of Bitcoin, and go throw $500 into Bitcoin and see if I can make some money. But at the end of the day, I just wish I had a time machine. I could go back 2 or 3 years and put all the monies I had into Bitcoin. Because man, oh man, even if you sold it now, like that's crazy. So yeah. But speaking of Bitcoin, Valve is no longer accepting Bitcoin on Steam as payments. About a year and a half ago, they started accepting Bitcoin payment for games and DLC and all the other stuff on Steam, but now they're no longer doing that, which it kind of sucks for anybody that was using Bitcoin for it. I don't really know anybody again that's using Bitcoin for stuff like this, but so some of the reasons they talked about not doing it anymore is the transaction fee, I guess, for Bitcoin has gone up a lot. It used to be almost 20 cents or something like that, but now, depending on the value or how much you're spending in Bitcoin and stuff, it can be upwards of $20-ish. So that kind of makes sense. If you're buying a $60 game and even if it's only $5 or $6, you're talking 10% of the value of the game that Valve has to pay just to accept your Bitcoin payment. So I don't have exact numbers for all this, but that kind of makes sense. Valve doesn't want to cut into their, cut their pie up too much rather and lose too much of it. And the other thing was just they cited, which is kind of the volatility of it. Bitcoin's just been shooting straight up lately. So, I mean, I don't know how, we'll have to see how volatile it really is, but I know for a long time Bitcoin was like really up and down. So, I mean, that kind of makes sense. But yeah, so if you were buying games on Steam with Bitcoin, sorry, bud. You're kind of SOL on that one for now until they decide to bring it back or something. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the normal stuff we have. I kind of wanted to use this Valve one to segue into the gaming stuff that we always like to have towards the end. And I got a couple of gaming articles here. First one is Square Enix tweeted and kind of teased that a new Tomb Raider game is coming. Now, we all know that Tomb Raider's been a big success. Of course, they're going to make another title. It makes sense. But, that we know a little bit more now. We know it's coming next year at some point, a little more. Their tweet says, and I quote, Square Enix is excited to share some big news with you next year. Honestly, we wish we could share it with you right now, but we're taking a new approach this time. A new Tomb Raider game is coming. Driven by our goal of putting our fans first, we want you to know that it won't be very long between the official reveal and when you can play. Our journey together will begin with a major event in 2018. We simply can't wait to take you on Lara Croft's defining adventure. So, this is cool. I want to know what this major event they're talking about is. I don't know if it's going to be... Maybe they're going to start hosting their own kind of event to bring a lot of press in to check out the game or what it's going to be. But I love the last two Tomb Raider games. Rise of the Tomb Raider was amazing, and even the original Tomb Raider, well, the original reboot of the Tomb Raider, whatever, was awesome too. So I've really enjoyed those. I'm definitely looking forward to a new Tomb Raider game. So I'm stoked for that. I'm glad to see that at least we know for sure 100% it's coming now. So that is cool. What else we got? Oh yes, Techland. Techland, in case you guys haven't heard them, they made a game called Dying Light. And if you guys haven't played Dying Light, you should definitely go play it. You've got, Mirror's Edge Park Wire, you've got guns, pretty awesome guns, a lot of melee weapons that are really brutal too, and of course you've got zombies. It's a really, really, really fun game. Techland announced some new DLC coming next year for Dying Light, which is sweet. This game is going to be 3 years old in January, and they're still releasing stuff for it. So it's good to see, much like a CD Projekt Red kind of thing, somebody, a developer releasing a game and supporting it over long periods of time and still releasing content for it. Always good to see. So they talked about a little bit about what we can kind of expect from it. So it's going to be kind of a bit of a PvP and PvE thing. They talk about missions where you have to, fight as a team to get extracted out of the city before nighttime, and you have to kill zombies to harvest their blood to get seats on a helicopter in order to get out. But the deal is, they don't say how much, but you need X number of these samples to get a seat on the helicopter. The more samples you get, the more seats are unlocked for more people, but everybody still has to pay individually. So let's say you've got 4 people on a team, and it's 5 of these samples to get on the chopper. Well, if you got 6, 7, which is 20, so everybody's got 3 people have enough for 4 seats, but this guy's only got 1, and it costs 5 to get on. Last buddy here, he's not getting on the chopper. So it's going to be kind of an interesting dynamic, I think, with that, especially considering Dying Light's gameplay style. There's a lot of freedom in that game to run around and run amok and cause a ruckus with zombies, so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm stoked for this, and I will definitely be picking it up. I will probably talk about it on the podcast after I've played it for a little bit. Who am I kidding? A lot. I'll probably talk about it then, so stay tuned for more news on that. But seriously, guys, buy Dying Light. It's fun. It's awesome. I know I talk about it a lot, but it was one of my favorite games, if not possibly my most favorite game of 2015. Really good game. And last but not least, Ubisoft delays Far Cry 5, The Crew 2, and some unannounced title that we have no idea what it is yet, but it's some super secret Ubisoft thing. Now, I know myself and a lot of you guys out there, it's always disappointing to see developers delay games, but in my opinion, and I think a lot of you guys out there probably share this as well, it's even more disappointing to see a game rushed out and have it be a complete dumpster fire full of bugs and other issues when it comes out. They've delayed Far Cry 5 by a month, so instead of February 27th, it's going to be March 27th. And The Crew was a little bit more vague. Rather than just a month, they delayed it, what was it, April to September, something they said? Crew was originally supposed to be March 16th. Now it's, somewhere between April and September of next year, so they've delayed that one quite a bit. But, again, I'll take a delay as long as when it comes out, there's not a lot of bugs, and it, runs good, it's reasonably optimized, that's fine. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, but I'm fairly confident. Just gotta do a quick check here. Yeah, we're still good. Just making sure I'm still recording audio. You gotta check sometimes. But so I'll take the delays as long as they work good and everything. So I don't know what this unannounced title they're talking about is. Maybe it's another Assassin's Creed game. Maybe it's brand new IP. We don't know. But that one's, aside from Far Cry 5, I love Far Cry. I'm really stoked for the new one, but definitely stoked to see maybe some new IP out of Ubisoft as well. If it's something really interesting, if it's something fresh, something new, definitely be stoked to check that out. So again, as per usual, stay tuned. We'll talk about these more when they come out. I know Josh is also going to be very stoked for Far Cry 5, just like myself, so we'll probably both be picking that up and playing the crap out of it. So stay tuned for more details on Far Cry 5. But that's all the topics we had for this week, and I got a few minutes left, so thought I'd talk about some of this stuff I got right on the table in front of me here. Now, 2 weeks ago, I guess now, I talked about working on some projects, and I am, but I've hit a couple snags, so let's talk about this one first. In case you guys don't know what this is an 8800 GTX, and although today it is a titan of yesteryear, no pun intended, this thing was an absolute monster when it came out in November 2006. First GPUs from Nvidia to support DirectX 10. First ones with stream processors, which they were called back then. Now they're not called that anymore. Now they're CUDA cores, but Yeah, so this is going to be used for what I'm calling a old school GPU restoration video. We're going to take off this heatsink, we're going to clean it out, we're going to replace the thermal pads, thermal paste, pretty it all up, and it's going to end up going in a system I got laying over there, but I need Windows 7 for it because I tried Windows 10, and the drivers say they work for Windows 10, but I can't get them to work properly for Windows 10, so we're going to throw in a Windows 7 system. I just got to finish building it, and I got to find a version of Windows 7 that's 64-bit, because mine's only 32, which forgot about, so still working on that, but yeah, it's coming on, so that's going to be a cool video. Stay tuned for that. It's mostly done. The computer's half built. I just mostly have to find a proper version of Windows 7 to get installed on there, and that should be good to go, but that'll be coming in the near future. And this here, this is a 4TB Western Digital red drive that I'm using to expand the storage in my main system down under the desk here. I have a 256 gig SSD for a boot drive, a 512 for a lot of my games, and a 2TB Western Digital Green right now for a lot of my long-term storage, but I kind of keep having to delete stuff off of that and move stuff to other drives because it's like always full. So I figured I should grab a 4TB drive, give myself some more storage. In fact, I figured why not grab two to 4TB drives? Hells yeah. They were on for like Black Friday thing on Amazon. They were $160 Prime in Canada, which is not too bad because I have a Prime account, so I was pretty stoked on that. But yeah, so I'm going to do a video talking about my storage setup soon. I'd actually like to do a video talking about my whole setup here soon at the desk with my computer and everything, but that's going to be a little bit further out. I got to rearrange a couple things and clean it up a little bit, but yeah, so these are going to be going in the system. I'm going to put them in a RAID 1 so I have some level of, backup. I still have everything on an external drive as well, so I'll kind of have everything in 3 places, sort of, but it's going to be way better than just having everything on one drive. So it's a step in the right direction. Eventually I'm going to do a FreeNAS build, and that'll be on the channel in, I don't know, a long time. That's a ways off, but that will be on the channel whenever I get around to doing it and finding the time for it. But in the interim, 2 4TB Reds should be a good amount of storage space to keep everything on. I've only managed to barely fill up this 2TB drive after a couple years, so this should be fine for hopefully at least another couple years anyway. But yeah, so that's a little bit of insight into the projects I've been working on. I got a couple of other small things that I want to do, but it's just finding the time. Right now I'm doing shift work, so my shifts change every week. It's hard to find time to even kind of do this, podcast every week sometimes, but I'm trying. I want to get more videos out there. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I want to make some changes a little bit for the new year, mostly just in terms of putting out more content. So hopefully you guys will be able to see more videos in the new year, but that's all kind of still in the works right now. I got to talk to Josh and figure out some of the logistics of everything, but anyway, I'm rambling a bit now, so that's going to be it for this week. Thanks, as always, for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. If you like the video, like it. Please share it. Share it wherever. Put it on your friends' wall on Facebook. Share it to Reddit or something. I don't know. And please subscribe because, like I said, we do really, really want to change it up a bit next year. We want to get more videos out. We want to do different videos. It usually ends up just being the podcast with a few one-offs here and there, but I'd really like to get down to doing some more kind of tech stuff rather than just doing news. So stay tuned. Things are happening. Things are coming. Thanks for watching. We will see you again next week.